everybody. Dan Illman, Mike here, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Saturday, April the 13th. It's race number 11 at Gulfstream Park, the Grade 1 Apple Blossom Handicap for fillies and mares. Let's take a look at this field. They're going to travel a mile and a 16th for $1.25 million. We all know Bob Baffert has a sensational record at Oaklawn Park, and he'll send out the morning line favorite, the number 4, Adair Manor, coming off a triple-digit buyer performance when second in the Beholder Mile.
Lost that race at a short price, but still ran a perfectly fine race first off the layoff since the Breeders' Cup, Dan. We'll see how they decide to play it this time. They didn't go for the lead in the Beholder Mile last time. I think they might be going this time.
I think she's at her best when she makes the lead. It sure seems that way. Now, maybe the number 1, Free Like a Girl, as we see on our Timeform US pace projector, can make the front and take advantage of this inside post. I just think if Adair Manor wants it, Juan Hernandez can get it.
I agree. I don't look at the one like some kind of a front running horse either, Dad. So I don't think they have to be aggressive here. I thought maybe you'd see a little of aggression from the 5, Flying Connection, who seems like she might be at her best on the lead too. But I'm with you. I think if Adair Manor wants the lead, it's hers.
If the pace gets hot, keep an eye on the 3, Wet Paint, making her seasonal debut for Brad Cox. She is a Grade 1 stakes winner, and she has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. We'll kick things off with Free Like a Girl, and what a cool Louisiana bred. She's made over $1 million. She's finished first or second in 27 of 37, and she's not just banking on beating up weaker Louisiana breds. She's earned 3 graded stakes placings in her career. She has tactical speed, but it's a tough spot.
Yeah, it's obviously a tough spot for her. Overall, I really like the way that they've managed her. They found the right spots for her. She wins tons of races. She's got over $1 million in the bank. And it's important what you pointed out previously, Dan. She hasn't won any races at the higher level, but when they do step her up, they step her up at the right times. The last 4 times they've run her in a graded stakes race, she hit the board.
Tax, the number 2, I thought was a little bit underrated last spring, and she put it all together in the Black Eyed Susan. I think she just was feeling the effects of her campaign when overmatched in the Alabama and then not running as well at Churchill. I like that Randy Morse put her away for the rest of the fall into the winter. She came back at a distance that's way short of her best. 3/4 of a mile, second level allowance, first time against older horses, and I know the Fig came back slow, but she steamrolls this field at a distance, again, shorter than her best.
Yeah, this is a perfect prep for her. Big stretch run here to close this thing down and close it down really easily. And then you can go back and pull the full replay. You can go and watch her past the wire because they let her go. And she gallops out. She puts an acre of ground on these horses around the turn in here. So it just feels like a perfect prep for her. I realized that after the Black Eyed Susan, you could say maybe she regressed. I thought she was compromised in the Indiana Oaks, thought she was compromised in the Alabama, thought she was compromised in the Seneca, all those races with slow paces in front of her. And maybe she'll be compromised again here, Dan, but to me, she's way better than she looks on paper.
Love that they galloped her out after the races you mentioned with interest. They've come back with 2 very quick half-mile works. I won't be surprised if she's a lot sharper and can just work out a nice tracking trip in the second flight or so. Wet Paint is the number 3, really consistent last year. She won the Fantasy. She really was dominant at Oaklawn Park. That's one of her big advantages. She swept through the Martha Washington, Honeybee, and Fantasy. She won the Coaching Club American Oaks. The Breeders' Cup Distaff was just too tough of a spot. I'm sure if Brad Cox is looking forward to her 4-year-old campaign.
Yeah, just the kind of filly who she was really good at the race. She didn't run any of those, knockout races, but she just showed up and ran really well every time. She has the potential to be pace compromised, so you got to worry about that kind of stuff. But she's just one of those fillies you expect her to be better as an older horse than she was as a 3-year-old.
Millionaire Adair Manor kind of bullied a weaker group of fillies and mares in Southern California last year, but I still don't want to knock one that won 5 consecutive races. She didn't run well in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She was facing much tougher competition from the East Coast and the Midwest. She came back in the Beholder Mile, and this was a day where speed seemed to do well at Santa Anita. And as Mike mentioned, they sat back in the pocket with her as Sweet Azteca, a progressive filly, was able to make the lead. She tries hard for second to Adair Manor. She seems to show up every time.
I like that she's going to sort of close this gap that this, lightly raced filly has on her at the end of this race. I think that suggests it's a pretty good prep race for her too, Dan. And I don't know why they decided to rate her, but maybe they just felt like she needed a race there. But they certainly conceded the lead to that winner early and just let her track and run through the stretch. I think it might be a really good prep for her.
What a year for trainer Todd Fincher. He's got Senor Buscador. He's got the 5 Flying Connection. He's managed this filly beautifully. Wins at Albuquerque, Zia, and then this race at Sunland Park last time out, the Harry Henson Handicap. Well, she came from off the pace in her prior 2 starts. There was no fooling around here at 1-20.
Yeah, she was supposed to win this race. She wins it really easily. I mean, 3 straight wins on the way into this, Dan, but look at the prices she's going off at. I mean, just races that she couldn't possibly lose. And she didn't. Listen, we'll see what happens in here. She's going to be a big price if you like her, have at it. I'm concerned that every time they ship her out of those Southwest tracks, that she doesn't really run that well.
Misty Vale just continues to overachieve each and every time. And I think it's because she's so tactical and she listens to her rider's commands that she gets trips, it seems, every single race, including this race, the Grade 2 Azeri last time out, where the rail once again opens up for Misty Vale. She shoots on through. It looks like she's going to win it. Unfortunately for her, she provides cover for the winner.
Yeah, the winner actually got stopped behind her too, but held her position, gets room and time. It's not a great loss here for Misty Vale after making a clear lead late in this race. Dan, to me, this is a race you kind of got to win it if you want me to bet you back in the Apple Blossom. But you know what she's going to do here? She's going to show up and run her race.
And she's going to get a good trip, but I agree with you. As the waters get deeper, you want to see them finish the deal against the weaker competition. So you're going to get a price if you believe she's in good form. It's a tougher spot. Same with Honor D Lady, who looked pretty good ever since they put her back on dirt. She won the Remington Park Oaks. I thought the Cumley was an okay performance. Here's the Royal Delta. This was a good spot for her. I don't think this was the strongest edition of the Royal Delta. She made a pretty sharp 3-wide move to take over the lead on the second turn, then takes advantage of the short stretch.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what you're supposed to say about this race, right? She was really sharp in here, and she got a decent figure for it. I didn't like the field that she beat, but I'll give her the credit that she's due for winning this race and moving forward. I really liked her Remington Oaks at the end of last year. I thought she ran really well that day. This isn't a terrible spot for her, Dan. I mean, sometimes the Apple Blossom comes up super tough. I don't know if that's the case this year. So she's interesting. I just don't think I would take the 7-2 morning line.
I agree. I think Javier, though, is going to hustle her out of there, try to get a good forward position without getting some dirt in her face, and we'll see if she can carry some ground and outfinish some of these. Bellamore is up next. She was third in the Azeri last time out. She was right up and on the pace throughout that day. And all in all, I thought she hung in decently for third. It'll be her third race off of a short layoff for Steve Asmussen.
I'm not sure what to make of the Azeri. Damn it! Maybe it's a race we could talk about more. I just don't like that race overall. Bellamore, I guess she ran fine in there. She was part of the pace all the way around there. Did her best, fought through the stretch, wasn't good enough. I don't know. I felt like she had to improve to win this.
Well, the Azeri was a race where the favorites just didn't show up for the most part. I mean, the winner was a long shot. Misty Vale was a long shot. Shotgun Hottie was one of the shorter priced horses in the race. I think if you want to make excuses for her first 2 starts this year, you can.
Yeah.
The Bayakoa was her first race off a layoff. She seemed very keen early and pulled, and maybe she just didn't have enough left in the tank at the end. And then last time out, she drew an outside post and was kind of hung out wide every step of the way. And you saw the top 2 finishers were saving ground turning for home.
Yeah, exactly. So was Bellamore too. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Dan. I'm tempted to just look at the Azeri, and I don't like it as a race overall, but I'm tempted to say you wanted to be inside in that race, and Shotgun Hottie, it was 4 wide around the track and just got tired at the end. And your points are well taken about the Bayakoa too off the layoff. She ran races last summer, 2 of them at Monmouth, that if she runs them in here, I think she can win.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point about the 9 Shotgun Hottie, a horse who won the Molly Pitcher last year over the summer. She beat a solid horse in search results. It's a shame that they lost the rest of the year for her, but you have to figure maybe she's rounding herself back into form. She'll be the best price of this form cycle for this race, but she'll have to overcome another outside post position. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF video offerings. Top pick time for the Apple Blossom. You're going with Taxed. Did it at a distance that was a lot shorter. Did it off the layoff last time out. She might offer some value in here, and we know she likes this track.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a forward move here because she's going to need one, I think, to win. But I think she might have it in her, Dan. I think she could be a little dirtied up. Could be a good trip coming for her here. I do think she's going to be a good price.
I hate the price on my top pick, Adair Manor. She's going to be favored in here. I just think she's going to be a very aggressively ridden and get to the front. And if she runs some of her figs, she's going to be very, very tough to beat. I'm going to go 4, 7, 6, and 3. Mike's going 2, 4, 3, and 1. In the Saturday race of the day, it's the Apple Blossom. Best of luck.